So I am taking the patterns individually and then looking them up on eBay, and I click sold listings to get an idea for how much that pattern has recently sold, how much it's sold for. That way I know which ones I want to dedicate my time and my free listings to. For instance, I looked up this one and I think it's super cute. It's adorable, but it's also February right now and people don't seem to be totally interested in it. And there are several of these available on eBay at varying prices, and there aren't any listed as recently sold. So this is not one I'm going to bother with right now. However, this one here, yes, there are some available, but there are also several that have recently sold for whatever reason. This is one that's selling. So this is one that is worth using one of my free listings for. So yeah, there's a lot of work involved, a lot of research, but there's also money to be made, and I don't have to go clock in anywhere. So, you know, keep those things in mind. So this is another instance that I think is important to show you. So this particular pattern, I looked it up, and not only are there not any listed as recently sold, there aren't even any listed as for sale. So even though I haven't found any recently sold, that doesn't mean that this isn't something I should use one of my free listings on, because obviously there are none available to be sold. So I might, you know, have a score here because I am putting one available for people that might be looking for it. So there's another thing to think about. So I feel like I'm making some progress. These are the patterns that I still need to go through, and some of them actually I don't need to. They're just extras of ones I've already checked. So as I'm going through, I'll just grab those ones and put them in the right pile. I have not started on the cards yet, but my fabulous mother-in-law came and grabbed a bunch of cards, so that helped. I'm thinking, yeah, most likely I will do a big lot or a couple of big lots of cards as crafting supplies on eBay, but we are also going to keep some for ourselves for next year. This is a pile of patterns that I will wait on. I've looked them up and it's not worth using my free listings on them at the moment. And then all of these are ones that are, are worth listing right now. And so I am going to do those. And I think all of them, except maybe one, I have multiples of. So hopefully they'll sell quickly so that I can get through them. But we shall see how that goes. I just want to move stuff as fast as possible. I have so many plans coming up, like travel plans, and we got to finance that one way or another, preferably legally. So got to get going on that. But I do feel like I'm making some progress, and I feel pretty good about what I've done so far. But look at that! Empty tote! And a full tote! But these are all ready to be listed. Now I just need to take pictures. Doing eBay the right way and the most lucrative way does take time and can turn into a full-time job very quickly, especially if you are a dumpster diver bringing in lots of inventory on a regular basis. But the research, taking the time to look up the items and see, you know, how many are available online, what they've been selling for, if they've even been selling at all, getting all of the pertinent details so that you can give a really thorough description and a really good title, making sure that you get lots of good pictures, as many pictures as you can. I think you get 11 pictures on each posting for free. After that, you have to start paying. But hello, 11 free pictures. You can do a lot with that. You don't need an amazing camera. I just use my smartphone. Nice to set up a little bit of a backdrop if you can, or even just, you know, set it on a pretty rug that's in your house and is clean. It doesn't have to be rocket science, you know, but it is worth the time. You will make more money if you take the time. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to set up a whole like special designated office or whatever. You can have a designated space that is your eBay space, and I think that's pretty cool. That's probably a good idea. A place that is always kept clean and uncluttered where you can do your work. But that's not necessary. I'm just here in my living room, hanging out in my comfy clothes that I spilled coffee on earlier. I didn't put the lid on. It happens, all right? I only brushed my hair for you guys. I mean, I need to brush my hair anyway, but I did that for you. And I only put clothes on because my wonderful, fabulous mother-in-law came over earlier and we wanted to go out to the eBay shed and look at some patterns. That's the only reason I even put clothes on today. School is canceled today. I don't have to go anywhere. Today I decided to dedicate to eBay, and I'm comfortable, totally comfortable. That is one of the beautiful things about eBay. Once you've gotten the stuff, you can just sit and relax in the comfort of your home or your underwear or whatever works for you. Be comfortable, but get the work done. I also recommend having a show on. I'm currently addicted to Fresh Baked on YouTube. They are my absolute favorite, and I just watch their episodes over and over and over, eagerly waiting for another one to pop up that I can jump right onto and watch over and over. Figuring out eBay involves a lot of experimentation. I've been doing eBay for a long, long time, and I've learned a lot of really hard lessons and some expensive lessons. Hopefully, by me doing a couple of videos, a few videos, depending on what you guys say, about eBay and kind of the ins and outs and some beginner tips and things like that, and then just bringing you along for my eBay days, maybe I can help you avoid some of those tough and expensive lessons. Anyway, back to experimentation. So, for instance, I have these two patterns. They're DC Comics bombshells. Ooh. Anyway, so both of these are good products, and from the research I've done, they seem to sell just fine. But here's another option, especially if you're going to be offering free shipping, which if at all possible, I highly recommend doing. Free shipping is just really appealing as a buyer. So if you can, then I recommend that you do. If you're not going to do free shipping, then adjust your selling price accordingly. But from my experience as a seller and a buyer, you're going to get more people pulled in, especially if it's an item that is regularly available and there are other sellers offering it. You're going to get more people's attention if you have free shipping. There's a little bonus tip there. But anyway, so what I'm going to try is I'm going to list some of these individually, but I'm also going to list some in pairs that are in the same size range, because like patterns have, you know, obviously have specific sizes. These two are two different sizes. We have a 6 to 14 and a 14 to 22. I'm not going to list these two together. I'm going to see if I have one of these, you know, the other one in the same size, and I will put those together, and this will just be a little experiment. I haven't sold patterns in a long time, and the last time I sold patterns, they were like really vintage, like 40s and 50s, from the 1940s and 50s, really old collectible patterns. So that was a whole different situation than selling these current contemporary costume patterns. You're going to try different things and you're going to figure out what works. Luckily, I've got free listings. You will get a certain amount of free listings, usually 50 each month. I have found that for some reason, even though they're supposed to be for the whole month, in my experience, after like the first week and a half of the month, those free listings have magically disappeared. Even though I didn't use them, they're just gone. I don't know why. I've never taken the time to really look into it. But so I say, if you want to use the 50 free listings, do it within the first week. Just sit down and do it. Another option is sometime, anytime, several times during the month, sit down and do like 5 drafts of a listing. You can save those drafts. That way, during the first week of the month, you can go ahead and just make all of them active with your free listings so that you're not like cramming in that first week of the month to do 50 listings, because a good solid listing takes time, right? It takes, you know, probably a half hour, even an hour, depending on the item, to do all the research, take your pictures, figure out shipping, all that kind of stuff. So when you happen, you know, the baby's asleep, or, you know, whatever, the kids are at school, or you're not in class right then, you just got off work and have nothing else to do, whatever your situation is, during that free time, while you're sitting catching up on, I don't even know what the popular shows are right now, whatever your popular show is that you're addicted to, while you're binge watching those episodes or binge watching my episodes, do your drafts of listings so that then at the start of the month, you can go ahead and just activate all those. See, there's so many different ways to make it possible. Instead of focusing on why you can't do it, or on why you can't do whatever it is that you want to do, not even just eBay, start looking for those little ways, those little things you can do to squeeze stuff in and to make it happen. So I'm going to try several different ways with these and with the different patterns, listing them separately, listing them in doubles or in groups or in whole lots. And we will come back to this on Patreon and see what has worked out. If you're interested in finding out how they have sold, what ways have sold better, whether on their own or in pairs or in lots, you'll have to check our Patreon link in the description below. So for the greeting cards, these ones are Valentine's, but of course there will be so many more coming right along. We'll have St. Patrick's Day, we'll have Easter, blah, 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 a million other greeting cards, but starting today with Valentine's, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get down a couple of priority mail flat rate boxes. So I have, I'm not gonna bother with the small size because that's just not worth my time. I'm going to get the medium and I'm going to get the large. I have a whole bunch of them up in the attic. You can order them for free, shipped to your house from the USPS.com website. Hey, there's another bonus tip. I'll try to leave some of this information below, but I will also be putting all of this information into our letter on Patreon. So, okay. I'm going to get those boxes down and I'm going to see how many cards will comfortably fit in those boxes, and I can list some that way, or I can also list them via media mail because of what they are. That will likely cost less, but media mail takes longer to ship, so I can give my buyers the option of getting the flat rate priority mail, which will ship faster but cost more, or give them the option of the media mail. Or I can just pick which one I want to do and offer free shipping and then adjust the price of the cards accordingly. Lots of different options, lots of different things to play around with. Yes, it takes some work, some experimenting, some trial and error, but hopefully, if you stick with me, I will save you some time and some trial and error. But it also depends on the product that you are shipping. Sometimes it's not worth even worrying about the priority mail. You just want to go with the media mail. Sometimes the media mail is just not even, it's not worth it because you can actually send it cheaper by going with priority or first class. These are things that you got to figure out. But I promise you, even though it sounds like a lot of work, it is totally worth it. And as we go along, I am going to do more very specific videos with those, different tips and steps along the way. I'm going to put some of them on here, and then I'm going to put some of them on Patreon. We'll kind of see how that goes. Again, trial and error. So here's another little bonus tip. As I am creating the listings for these patterns, I'm going to take a whole bunch of pictures, and I'm using my smartphone to do that. But then I'm going to save the listing with just the pictures and the title. And then I'm going to hop over to either my laptop or our desktop computer. And from there, type up all of the details and check all the boxes. It's just so much easier to do all that typing and, all that great description that you're going to give with all those fabulous details. It's so much easier to do that on a keyboard than on your cell phone. All right, guys, that is it for today's eBay ride along. I hope it has been informative and helpful, or maybe even entertaining for you. As I mentioned, I will be doing more eBay ride along videos and some specific just tips and ideas, suggestions for getting started on eBay or for building your eBay business. I will also be doing several eBay specific newsletters on our Patreon account. That is only $1 a month to have access to our newsletters, which I will be trying to do those at least 2, maybe 3 times a month if there is interest in those. And so we'll see how that goes. Experimenting, learning, trial and error as we grow kind of our brand on YouTube and elsewhere on social media. We're learning as we go, and isn't that life? It's beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. We're just so grateful to have you guys as part of our YouTube family. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.